Are you ever on the rower just giving it everything you've got, but your split times, they just won't budge? Well, if that's you, you've stumbled right into the rower's paradox. Today, we're going to tear down this idea that just raw power equals more speed. Instead, I'm going to show you how flawless technique and just being more efficient, that's the real secret to unlocking the speed you know you have. This is the one question every single rower needs to ask themselves. It is so easy to get caught up in the sweat and the feeling of just working hard. But a ton of that work, it can be totally wasted energy. So many rowers are just kind of kicking the machine, making a lot of noise, but none of that effort is actually turning into speed. And that just leads to frustration, slow times, and honestly, it can lead to injury. So how do we fix all this? Well, we're going to approach the perfect rowing stroke like we're building a pyramid, right? You can't just stick the pointy bit on top and hope for the best. You have to start with a solid, wide, absolutely non-negotiable base. If you get that foundation right, everything else just kind of locks into place on top of it. So here's how we're going to build our pyramid today. We'll start at the bottom with the base, building that solid foundation of connection. Then we'll add the big, powerful middle layer. That's the engine of acceleration. After that, we'll get into the secret to rhythm, which is the magic that ties it all together. And finally, we'll put the capstone on top, learning how to train smarter, not just harder. Okay, first things first, let's lay that foundation. This section is all about what happens before you even dream about pulling hard. We're talking about creating an absolutely unbreakable connection to the machine, making sure that not a single watt of your power gets wasted. There are 3 things that are totally non-negotiable for your setup. First, get your foot plates set so the strap goes right across the ball of your foot. This is key because it lets your heels lift a bit naturally. Second, and this one is a total game changer, you've gotta, and pardon the phrase, sit on your junk. It sounds kind of crude, I know, but it just means tilt your pelvis forward so you're sitting more on your hamstrings, not flat on your butt. This is what unlocks your hips. And third, find a drag factor that works for you and stick with it. Don't just crank it to 10. We'll get more into that later.
That whole sit on your junk cue, it's all about this right here, getting a proper pelvic tilt. See, when you can hinge from your hips like this, you fire up your core and your glutes, and you protect your lower back from rounding out and taking a beating it was never designed for. Honestly, this might be the single most important thing for preventing injury and for getting a truly powerful stroke.
Want to find out if your foundation is really as solid as you think? Try this drill. Row without your feet strapped in. Seriously. The straps can become a trap, letting you hide all sorts of flaws by just pulling yourself back to the front. But rowing strapless, that is the ultimate teacher. If you're not connected through your feet and driving correctly with those legs, you're going to know it instantly. It forces you to use your core and keep everything in the right order.
Okay, with our foundation totally secure, it's time to build the engine. Now we can finally talk about creating some serious power. And the secret? Well, it isn't just yanking as hard as you can from the very start. It's something a lot more elegant than that. The big idea here is what we call progressive acceleration. See, the machine feels heaviest at the catch, right when the fan is at its slowest. So trying to just grip it and rip it with some violent kick is just inefficient. Instead, your goal is to work with the machine. You connect smoothly, and then you accelerate the handle through the entire drive so it hits its fastest speed right as it touches your body. And this acceleration has to happen in an unbreakable sequence. It is always legs, then body, then arms. Period. The legs, they're your massive engine, giving you that first big push. Then, as that powerful push is finishing, the body swings open from the hips. And only then, at the very end, do the arms pull the handle in to finish the stroke. If you change that order, you're just leaking power everywhere.
A fantastic way to think about this is like pushing a kid on a swing. You don't just run up and kick the swing, right? Of course not. You meet it where it is, you match its speed, you apply this smooth building pressure, and you guide it higher and higher. That is the exact same relationship you want with the machine's fan. Connect with its speed, then accelerate it smoothly all the way through the drive. So all that power from the drive is amazing, but it's only half the stroke. The real secret to being efficient, the part that actually sets you up for the next powerful stroke, it's all about what happens on the recovery.
I absolutely love this mental model. Instead of thinking about the stroke as just this back and forth thing, picture it as a continuous infinity loop. You've got that powerful acceleration on the drive where you're pushing the world away. But then you have a second, more patient acceleration on the recovery, where you're drawing the machine smoothly back underneath you. It creates this fluid, non-stop rhythm.
And the key to that beautiful, smooth recovery loop is one simple cue: knees down. The most common mistake people make is bending their knees the second the stroke is done. This forces your body to do this awkward heave to get over them, and it just kills all your momentum. The correct sequence is the exact reverse of the drive. Hands get away first, then you get that pelvic tilt forward, and only then do your knees start to bend. Patience here is everything.
All right, we've done it. We've built our perfect stroke from the foundation all the way to the top. So how do we actually apply these ideas to our training to get faster and fitter without just completely burning out?
First, let's circle back to drag factor. I want you to think of it like gears on a bike, not a difficulty setting. A low drag factor is like climbing 100 stairs one at a time, lots of quick, small efforts. A high drag factor is like taking those same stairs 4 at a time, fewer steps, but way heavier. The total work to get to the top is exactly the same. The goal isn't to be a hero with a damper on 10, it's to find a consistent drag factor, maybe around 130 to start, that lets you hold great technique and train consistently no matter what machine you're on. Now, why is all this so important? Well, because for a classic 2,000-meter race, about 75% of your energy comes from your aerobic system. That's the massive base of your performance pyramid. All that high-intensity anaerobic stuff, it just sits on top of that foundation. You absolutely have to spend time doing long, steady-state rows to build that huge aerobic engine. Without it, your whole pyramid is just going to crumble. So let's put our whole pyramid together. These are your key takeaways for your next workout. First, nail your foundation with proper connection. Second, create power through smooth, progressive acceleration that starts with your legs. Third, master your rhythm with a patient, knees-down recovery. And fourth, train with consistency, both in your drag factor and in your focus on building that huge aerobic base. So I want to leave you with this final thought. The machine, it's an unflinching partner. It will never give up. It will never get tired. Trying to fight it is a losing battle. The real challenge and the beauty of rowing is learning to work with it, to be fluid, to be efficient, to be powerful. So the question isn't whether you can overpower the machine. It's whether you can master yourself enough to work with it, stroke after perfect stroke.